When a party is talking about brainwashing our children and convince them that they're not what they are, meaning they're not girls if they're girls, boys they're boys, or start teaching about sex to our little kids, the innocence of children for me is untouchable. So that's all part of the socialist plan, which sadly is what the Democrats have become. I always say they're not Democrats anymore. They're the Communist Party of the United States. Being a Christian, for me, freedom is very important. Okay. And when we say freedom, is in all aspects. Freedom of speech, my own personal freedoms, the idea of this government to be small. And that's one of the things that we're seeing, how Christians were attacked constantly and more and more. Like we Christians, we cannot talk. But for example, the Muslims, they can.
Says something ain't right. Something ain't right. I said something, said something ain't right. Something ain't right. What?
What's up, y'all? It's Something Ain't Right podcast. I'm your host, Trey Nine. We thank you for joining us. To my right, I have someone new, a new face that also has her own podcast, but she's filling in for Jessica, and she goes by the name of
Jessica 2.0.
So
hey guys, I'm Jess Marie.
Yeah, Jess Marie is co-hosting with us. Across from me, I got my boy Witeout in the building, and we have a great episode for you today, and I'm very thankful for this person because we actually recorded it and had some audio issues, and she came back and said she was going to do it again for us, and so we are very thankful for someone to do that, and I want to introduce you to her. Come on, tell us who you are. Let the people know who you are.
Thank you very much, Trey. Thank you for having me with y'all. Well, my name is Carmen Maria Montiel. I am the Republican candidate running for this year's special election for District 18. As you know, the election is November 4th. Early voting started on Monday. This election is because the seat is vacant, and this district represents pretty much the most important areas of the city. I am a legal immigrant. I am the mother of 3 children. I've done a bunch of things in my life. I'm a journalist. I work in television in Venezuela. I was the reporter anchor woman for Telemundo. Then I went on and developed a medical practice that I worked on for 20 years. Today, I'm a real estate commercial broker. But I always say my greatest accomplishment is my 3 children. 2 are already graduated master in law school, and my son is in chemical engineering right now in college. 2 more years to go.
Yeah, big money on the way.
Oh, yes. Thanks God. People is getting off my payroll. That's the best part. Every time they tell me, oh, Mom, you're not going to have to pay the insurance. I'm like, life is good.
That's right. That's right. It'll come off your insurance.
And they are the reason that motivate me to do this. I always say I come from the future because I come from Venezuela, and what happened to Venezuela in the process, because the process is not, Hugo Chavez won and it happened, the communists done overnight. No, it is a whole process that takes you there. So I started noticing in the United States how it was happening. So many things, so many that were similar. And then when I had my experience in the court system, and I saw how corrupt the court system was, and I said, you know what, this is not right. This country is really doing bad. And that's when I said, knowing that something is going to happen and doing nothing, I will never forgive myself, especially because I'm worried about the future of our children, my children, your children, and where are we going to live. I know how destroying a country like Venezuela, I was supposed to get back when I came to study for better job opportunities since I was already working in television, and that went away. So I'm worried about what country our children are going to have. Are they going to have a future? Are they going to be persecuted? Are our daughters going to end up in a burqa? All those things worry me every day as a mother, because there is one day I'm not going to be here, and I'm worried about not being here and not knowing what's going to happen.
So you see America going in a direction that back in Venezuela you saw them go in that direction and become that.
Yes.
And so what you're saying is you see America showing signs of communism or socialism
Yes.
or what?
Well, I always say that socialism is the entry door to communism. It always ends like that. And it doesn't matter what happened. People needs to understand that socialism, communism, it just brings poverty, brings hunger, and millions of people have died because of it. The problem is our schools stop teaching what socialism is. And that's why the new generation romanticize with the idea of socialism. And let's see the reality. Karl Marx, he never worked. He created communism. He just lived out of people. So he was selling this, idea where everybody was the same and enjoyed the same things. But that's impossible if you don't work. And like I tell people always, I said, even in the desert, the communists run out of sand. Because at some point you run out of people's money. And have you seen like Venezuela, for example?
Yeah.
And we had a right-wing dictator, the last right-wing dictator until 1958. But being a right-wing dictator, there was a lot of progress in the country. There was a lot of safety in the country. And by the time he was overturned by the socialists, claiming that it was democracy, Venezuela had 64% of the population were middle class.
Yeah.
And middle class is the motor of a country. And the rest was equally divided by rich and poor people. So today, 94% of the population in Venezuela are poor.
Wow.
And that's what people needs to look at. That's what socialism is doing. What is happening to the middle class here in the United States is disappearing.
And how is that happening, Bob? In your assessment, how is that happening? What is the strategy to take out the middle class?
Well, because if you just create just rich and poor, and the poor people, you just control them and sublimate.
The government takes care of them.
Exactly. And then just become just
dependence
of the system. But that's why it needs. And what happened is the middle class is the class that studies, that works, that is the substantial of the society.
Yeah.
And how do we get there? Is with inflation, with bureaucracy, with we have to pay more. And why do we have to pay more for things? Because all this regulation, every time something is built, and because of the regulations, then the product is more expensive. And I just came from University of Houston right now, and we were talking about tuition, and I said, you know what, because I graduated here, I graduated from East Tennessee State University, I pay $1,600 a year in tuition. It was $800 a semester. And I want somebody to tell me why now we have to pay between $60,000 to $80,000 a year in tuition. Wow. And the inflation in that is ridiculous. But of course, what happened is the federal government got involved. And of course, the colleges say, oh, now we have federal money, so now we can hijack this and raise it whatever we want. In the meantime, colleges have endowment accounts with trillions of dollars. So whenever they talk about forgiving the college loan, I'm like, well, make the colleges accountable. Because on top of getting the tuition, they have these trillion of dollars endowment accounts. They also get federal money. We're also giving money. And so now the colleges have all this entry, and what they're doing is just paying these people to brainwash our children. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, the hardest place to go as a Republican is colleges.
Is where?
Colleges.
Okay.
It's not friendly. It's like, it's very difficult, but I'm shameless about it because I said, you're going to listen to me, and at some point, I'm going to say something that's going to click. Yeah,
you're passionate about what you believe, and you're being driven from a place of experience as to what the end result is, and so that's why you're passionate. And
I always say I come from the future. I can tell you how it's going to end if we don't do something about it. So.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you, and I always admire people that see a problem and feel the need and do something about it, because there's a lot of people that just get on the internet and talk about it and argue about it, but they don't do nothing. They can criticize you, but they won't do nothing. And so this show, Something Ain't Right, we have hard conversations about things that affect faith, and one of the reasons we created the show was because I just saw so many people that were Christian, and they would argue about topics and divide, and they'd be done. And so here we can ask challenging questions. We can talk about hard stuff, but walk away knowing that, hey, we're still Christian. We still believe in God. We're not going to divide. We're not going to talk about each other and rip each other apart, especially publicly. And so on the show, we have good conversations that lead to, maybe we're different, but we have peace at the end. And so
that's what's important.
Yeah, we have
exchange of ideas.
Exchange of ideas.
Nowadays is becoming harder and harder to achieve.
It is.
There's
a temperature that's just crazy in our country.
Well, the liberals just want to, if they don't agree with you, they start screaming.
Scream. I've seen that. Yeah.
And whoever screams is not right. I always said, if you have to scream to present your idea, it's because you're in the wrong.
You're acting like a child.
Exactly.
Screaming at somebody. Like, have a civil conversation. So, Jess, let's get into it.
From what I hear, is that you have a very big why as to why you're running and you've entered into politics.
Yes.
You're a Christian, you're a believer, right?
Yes.
So
born as a Christian, yes.
Okay, so it seems like the things that you're pursuing, the reason why it's deep rooted for you.
Yes.
Before I was a believer, I used to look at politics through the lens of, like everyone else, culture, what feels good, so on and so forth. But now everything that I do, it stands on kingdom principles. And as it is written biblically in Jeremiah 29:7, God tells us to, what is in roles of leadership and influence, we should be looking out for what matters for the people. And that's what I hear as you're speaking. So one of the questions I had for you was, can you share how your personal faith influences the decisions that you make as a leader?
Well, being a Christian, for me, freedom is very important. Okay. And when we say freedom, is in all aspects. Freedom of speech, my own personal freedoms, the idea of this government to be small. And that's one of the things that we're seeing, how Christians were attacked constantly and more. Like, we Christians, we cannot talk. But, for example, the Muslims, they can. So we cannot pray. But the Muslims can. And
in
now,
certain countries, right?
And even here. Let's face the truth.
Yeah.
Even here, remember that they wanted to build an epic city in Texas.
Yes.
And thanks to real estate laws, the governor was able to stop it. Now, that's not stopping them, because what they do is they buy the whole house in a block because they have multiple wives. So they buy the whole block, and then they implement it in that block, Sharia law. Thanks God our state legislature just passed prohibit Sharia law.
So that plan won't work.
Thanks God it's not work. But have you been in Sugarland lately?
No.
Oh God, that's another world. It's like you are in another country, and they celebrate the main day in front of City Hall, and they're all looking to Mecca praying. And this is a Judeo-Christian country. That's how we were founded. And even though I believe in freedom of religion and freedom of speech, we are a Judeo-Christian society, and Islamic is not part of us. It's not part of that. And create division, hate, because the idea is, they have to kill Christians to survive. And we need to stop it, because, like I tell you, I invite you to go to Sugarland and you will be impressed of what's happening. Yeah. And so that's ways of losing and changing our society. So when I grew up of a true conservative because of my Christian principles, and seeing that, we need to preserve the family. A faith is very important in our life, and to have education and economic opportunities. And I always implement faith in my life, and I raise my children with faith. And there is a word in Spanish that doesn't have a perfect translation in English. We said temor de Dios. And you probably know that word.
Yeah, it's kind of like the fear
I bet
of
your
the
mom
Lord.
told you many times. It's it's like the fear of the Lord with respect, but it's not complete fear, because he said, "Oh, you have to be fearful of God."
Right.
That will scare children.
Right.
But when you say temor de Dios, it's different. And we were raised that we have to have temor de Dios, and that meant that everything we did, we have to question ourselves, will God be okay with this? And and I'm not going to do anything that will not comply with that part in my life.
So it's like a reverence for God.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you feel like within politics there's a party that doesn't align with the godly principles that you see in the Bible, or is it
Not anymore.
okay?
You know, when a party is talking about brainwashing our children and convince them that they're not what they are, meaning they're not girls if they're girls, boys they're boys, or start teaching about sex to our little kids, you know, the innocence of children, for me, is untouchable. You know, all kids deserve to be kids.
Right.
Their innocence need to be preserved. And only at the right time, certain things should be introduced to them.
Okay.
And it should be introduced by the right people. And that's the parents. Nobody else. We send our kids to school to learn geometric, history, you know, how to read, but not to be brainwashed. And that's but that's with a purpose. The purpose is to destroy the next generation and to have these kids going against their parents. And then what happens is you're breaking up the family. And if we don't have a family, that's the basis of society. You know, I always say it's important that we have a tribe. You know, because what happened when you are in family, in your tribe, it's very difficult for somebody to come and try to manipulate you or brainwash you. But when you are in that family union, you follow what your family tells you. So that's all part of the socialist plan, which sadly is what the Democrats have become. I always say they're not Democrats anymore. They're the Communist Party of United States, and they tells you, and it's so funny because the other day there was this Democrat interviewing me, and I'm a woman of faith. And then I said, well, I agree that, yes, we need to get back God in our schools. And she's a teacher. Said, why? I'm a teacher, but I don't agree with that. And I said, but you just say you're a woman of faith.
Yeah.
And that's the contradiction with them. They say one thing, but then they act in the other way or oppose that. And that's, for me, it's evil. And I always say that what we're seeing today is a battle between good and evil. That's in reality what we're doing. And what we're fighting for. It's just, you know, they're fighting the Christians by a religion that doesn't believe in God, that doesn't have a God. They just have a prophet. And then we have all these terrorist groups that are all over the world, and they have infiltrated us, and they're brainwashing our children, destroying our families, and then they wonder what's wrong. So when they say we need to control arms, and they say, well, we need to take care of mental issues, because the problem is the kids are just watching this all day long, and we need human contact. We need to talk to people. We need to talk with our family. You know, for me, in my family, until my children left, dinner time was untouchable. And we needed to sit in that table, no phones, and we need to talk and share that meal together. And then have friends and talk. But you see the kids. Yeah. They're with the friends talking, and they're not talking.
Yeah.
They're all on their phones. So we need to have that human contact. And that's why there is so much depression. And then they're watching all these very, you know, disturbing things on television or playing these games. And if they're sad and they're depressed, they go act on it. So I believe what we need, instead of regulating arms, because that's the socialist way, you know, they want to take away your arms so you cannot defend yourself against their dictatorship. It's just to take care of mental issues, but not in that way. It's just get back to basics.
You know, I love your boldness and your courage to speak on that, because a lot of people don't want to cross that line. They love to stay safe. And so I can appreciate your take on that, because it runs deeper than just political parties. It does run faith. So a lot of people say that Christians should stay out of politics because it's corrupt or divisive. I'm hearing part of your take on that, but why do you think it's important that Christians use their voice and get into politics?
Because if we don't, they will completely exterminate us. And we're already seeing how we're being persecuted by them, attacked. They want to silence us. So we need to get involved. And there is a part in the Bible that says a God to it is what God and a Caesar to is to Caesar. And also there is a part in the Bible that said that God is the one that put kings.
That's
and
right.
Today's age is, the people in government. So only when we act in a godly way, we can have a better government and a better future. And if we don't get involved, then here we have evil, taking over. And what happened is Republicans, because we are Christians and we respect people's opinion, because that's the other thing. Since we respect everybody's opinion, we just respect everybody's opinion, and we're not pushovers. We're like, okay, we're here. This is what I believe. It's
Turn the
good
other
what you
cheek,
believe.
yeah.
And what happened is these people is just being taken and infringing into our space. And we need to stop that.
Interesting. So as a Republican, do you feel like all Republicans are Christians and all Democrats are not Christians? And so you got the righteous party and the unrighteous party. Do you really believe that that's the case?
Well, many of them say that they're Christians. And for example, former President Biden was a Catholic. And for me, that was the biggest, because I'm of the Catholic faith, the biggest lie on the face, because I say, how can you say you're a Catholic and you're pro-abortion? One of the major issues for Catholics is that we are pro-life. And so how could that president, I always was like, when is the Pope going to, excommunicate him? Because being, you're committing murder.
Yeah.
And he's pro killing babies. And yet he went to church every Sunday, to Catholic church, like nothing was happening.
What's interesting about that, though, is like people would say, well, that's because the government is separate from church and religious beliefs, and they've had to separate it. However, when Trump came into office, he overturned Roe v. Wade, which I don't think anybody thought that could have happened.
Well, he didn't. It was the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court, right? It went to the Supreme Court.
It was the Supreme Court.
He pushed.
Because, because that ruling should have never happened.
In the first place.
In the first place.
Yeah.
Because that falls in the 10th Amendment, which is, for the states. And that should have never happened. And then it was found out that the woman lied, So the Supreme Court at the time should have said, this is a state issue. We are going to stay away from it. This is not a federal issue.
And that's what it is now. States can decide
Exactly.
if they want abortion or not. And Texas, where you're at and running, does not allow it, right?
It's not allowed. Yeah.
Right.
And it's the same thing with marriage.
Yeah.
Why, when the federal government decide that people on the same sex could get married, that was another state issue.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court should have never gotten involved in that issue. It's another state issue. Allow the states to do whatever they think and allow for the people to vote for whatever they want. And what happened is we had the Supreme Court overstepping on what they're supposed to do. And what's been happening is many things has been returned to what is the right way.
And that's what you call big government? Like, because earlier you said you want a smaller
Exactly.
government, big government.
Yeah, and Republicans, small government. Democrats want big government control.
They want big government control. They want to, to have everybody depending on them. And if they
big
don't...
welfare.
Welfare, welfare on
You were mentioning the you were basically saying earlier, and I wanted to circle back. The nuclear family is under attack because everything you were saying was the nuclear family is under attack. Which, when I think of policies of social issues, I mean, we're a nonprofit, so we deal with social issues all the time, and I don't think giving everybody entitlements is going to help them elevate. I think that there's a process where you need it. You get in a hard time, or you were poor and you need welfare benefits. But a hand up, you got a hand out, but then a hand up, helping
That's more
people
important.
come out of that. Yeah, so
a hand up instead of a hand
do
out.
Republicans want no help for the poor? No,
No, that's not true.
no
Medical assistance.
Yeah,
Medical
yeah,
assistance,
No,
yeah.
no Medicare, no SNAP benefits, no
That's
WIC.
not, no, not at
Do
all.
Republicans just want to eliminate everything that's given to the poor by the government?
That's not what they're doing right now. What they're doing right now, there is a lot of fraud in Medicare, Medicaid, and food stamps and SNAP. That's the reality. Actually, welfare rose 45% under Biden. And that's for two reasons. One, the illegal immigrants that, they should not be entitled to what is paid for as Americans with our taxpayer. And two, there is a lot of fraud.
Yeah.
And fraud counts fraud and people that were not eligible to be in Medicare. Medicare and Medicaid alone is $238 billion in fraud. In fraud only in 2024.
And that's
In 1 year.
and that looks like people getting medical benefits that don't deserve it, or is it the medical industry getting checks from the government?
No, I don't believe the medical industry, because I work for 20 years in the medical field. The medical industry is punished every day to the point that I didn't want any of my children to study medicine. Yeah. Because it used to be a very good profession because you don't graduate and finish until you are 34 years old. And it used to be like, well, you make good money, but not anymore because they cut them all the time. It is about people, charging fraudulent accounts.
Okay.
So somebody's getting the money and people that are not eligible. And you have no idea how much that happened. It's all day. And it's food stamp and SNAP, they rose by 55%, and the fraud was in the EBT cards. So,
and those are Democratic
I used to
policies.
I used to work at SNAP and WIC on High Star right here in the Southwest, and it always blew my mind how the rules were like against you, right? Like I had to interview people or whatever, but they could lie in your face and you couldn't like deny them. And I would see people literally pull up, and I saw a lady pull up in one of the brand new Hummers with a Gucci purse and everything, and I was like, man, how this woman
Why
get
is
these
she getting-
benefits?
yeah.
And then I was like, I'm struggling. I don't get paid that much.
and you see people in Mercedes-Benz.
But
and,
but the supervisor always told me, oh, you can't question them. You can't question them. If they tell you that they don't work, or they tell you they're not with their baby daddy, whatever, you can't question them. You just gotta take it and give it to them.
And is that
approve them?
Is that what's going on right now? Is they're trying to clean that up?
They're trying to, so
That's
those are
crazy.
the cuts because we cannot keep spending like this. Okay, we find out $238 billion in fraud. Oh, are we going to raise it and keep on paying every year more and more and more? So we're saying we're okay with the fraud and people stealing from us. So we are 38 trillion in debt in this country. Yeah. We need to cut back. And cut back is, and that's when I say bureaucracy. Bureaucracy kills because the reason why all this fraud is happening is part of bureaucracy. And then they need to hire more people to deal with all these issues. And the issues never get solved. But, we need more people. And then the people, after COVID, they decided they didn't want to get back to work. And we don't know if they were working from homes. But I don't know if you have tried to renew a passport lately. It used to be like nothing. Now it takes you months because everybody in that department never went back to work. And that's why when Trump got sworn in, he said all federal employees need to get back to work or you're going to be fired.
Yeah.
And there were probably no working. Some were having a second and third job where they were getting the paycheck from the government. So what happened is we need to we said, dejar el desorden y ordenar la casa de nuevo. We need to stop the disorder and organize the house back again and get back to basics so we can leave a good future for our children. They're going to be in debt. How are they going to pay for that?
Yeah. So I can see where it looks divisive and it looks like definitely one against the other for sure. Leadership plays a huge role in shaping culture. How do you personally try to bring people together instead of the division?
Well, that's the most difficult part, as divided as we are right now. And what I tell, especially in my district, one of the things is this district was created to have a black representation. And what happened, the district changed, it's now 45% Latino. And thanks God, I'm Latina and come from a culture when we're colorblind because we come in all the colors. The Democrats try to put us in a brown box and always say if you put us in a brown box, you are discriminating against over 85% of us because we're white, black, brown, yellow, copper. We come in all the colors. And I think that helps me to reach to everybody. And we need to do a lot of teaching because the people are lied every day. For example, they're lying and say, oh, they're going to take away your Medicare and they're going to take, and they're in fear. Yeah. And what happens is we need to educate a lot. And that's what I said as a congresswoman, I will just have, like monthly town halls explaining the people in the district what's really going on.
Yeah.
And because when I go to one of these debates, they were passing out, flyers with information that I was like, I didn't know about that. And they were like, yes, like telling me like, you're an ignorant, and when I read the thing, I was like, this is all lies. But they give those flyers to the people. The people get fear, take it home, and they're living in fear, thinking they're not going to be able to feed their families or to get medical help.
Scare tactics.
Yeah. Yes.
But that seems to, earlier you were talking about, Islam and, fear tactics seem to be it's like that's the blueprint for politics, is make people afraid of what will happen.
From the left.
If they don't, but even on the Republican side, because like you were saying, like all Muslims are not trying to silence Christians and declare Sharia law. Right. And so it can sound like a fear tactic from this side that, oh my God, Islam is going to take over America, because we did see, what city is it where?
Well, we have seen France and
other countries for sure.
England.
So we kind of see that happening and we go, whoa, so that's what they're trying to do. And then the algorithms online just feed us that. Boom, boom, boom. So now you're looking at all of them, all Muslims saying, oh, that's what y'all are up to. And I know some aren't. Just like some Christians aren't right-wing nationalists, or we don't all say, hey, Trump is the model Christian. I don't know if he's a Christian or not, I just needed a president. I didn't need a pastor, right? And so I'm looking at policies. But
I want a president that has temor de Dios.
That has what?
Temor de Dios. That's what I want, a president that have temor de Dios. That I want.
And what makes you think Trump is that one? What does he do?
I think he's a faithful man. Mm-hmm. He surrounds himself by many pastor and priests. Mm-hmm. He has invited like no other president to the White House, people to pray.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Yeah.
And I always said when he was saved from the attempted murder, and I put it in my Instagram, that slow motion, how he turns the head. And you said it's just a fraction of seconds. Mm-hmm. If you don't believe he was saved by God and you don't believe in God after that, God, you have a problem. Yeah. I'm a faithful woman. And when I saw that, I was like, wow. Yeah. Yes, sadly, other people got killed. Mm-hmm. But I believe he's there for a purpose. And there is nothing wrong with being nationalist. It's like saying you don't love your family. Mm-hmm. You love your family. Then you have to love your country. The day you don't love your country, then we see what's happening. Yeah. People burning flags and trying to destroy the country. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. If you don't love your family, we're just going to, do hateful things towards your family.
I think we all can have an opinion on that, because just because we appear, and I'm not one or left of the other, so let me just be clear, but saying that we see how someone represents or how they show up in the public doesn't necessarily mean that's who they are. But we do know biblically that the Bible says God raises up the kings and he tears them down. So whether he's good, bad, whatever, his will shall be done through whoever's there.
And our job is to pray for them for sure.
Right, for sure. But I appreciate what you're saying when it comes to we should have that fear of the fear of the Lord should be there, whether the leader's there or not.
Well, I'd rather have a president that have temor de Dios ruling us than one that have no fear in anything, because it can do diabolic things. Well, I believe what happened in the last 4 years was people don't understand. When they opened the border and we have that influx of millions of people.
Yeah, like 11 or 12 million or something like that.
They say it's close to 20 or around that, because I went to the border and I saw in one point of entry 90 people come across in 20 minutes with children, many of them with 2 children. Yeah. And it's just one point of entry. the border is very long. And that was happening all these point of entry. So they say it's around 20 million. So what happened with that? First of all, there is no infrastructure in any country that cannot serve a vertical growth of the population like that. Destroys the country. Then the problem is not only these people, multiply these people, but the number of children they're going to have. In 18 years, we're not going to recognize this country because it completely changed the culture. Yeah. It changed who we really are as Americans. And what happened is these people, they were brought with the idea you have to hate the country, not with the idea you need to be part of the country. When I came as a student, I was supposed to go back to Venezuela, but when I stay, I said, I want to be part of. I want to be a true American, and I wanted to adapt. But many of these people come and they don't even want to learn the language. And it's our fault as a country that we give citizenship tests in all those languages. I would say, and they do it in Europe.
Yeah.
France, if you want to take the citizenship test, you need to speak French. Yeah. Why are we allowing that people take that test in other languages?
They would say because we're a nation of immigrants, built by immigrants, and so...
No, but our language is English.
It's changed quite a bit, though. I mean, I went to Subway.
Even though I speak Spanish.
I went to Subway, and I had to use my Spanish to order a Subway sandwich. Because
but that's the problem. It shouldn't be. And let me tell you, I raised my children speaking Spanish. I raised them, and they have to text me in Spanish. But that was a gift for me to them because having another language is an extra tool in life. It's like having a career, and they actually speak 3 languages. But I will never agree to have dual language in the United States, and I believe whoever comes here needs to adapt and learn the language. Mm-hmm. And what happens, like I say, you have to order in another language. Well, we are in United States. And if you go to other countries, why we're not like other countries.
Yeah, the border thing is a big issue right now that's really dividing. I mean, I love Hispanic people. I grew up with them, and that's the neighborhood I came from, predominantly Hispanic and black, more Hispanic than anything. And I've had a janitorial company before where they would give me a Social Security card and stuff. Later, I found out, oh my gosh, this isn't registering, and the IRS would be like, we don't recognize this number. And so I had illegals on the payroll, didn't even know it, and but awesome, hardworking people, and
yes,
and
definitely.
So the country's torn because you don't want people that are coming here for another opportunity, for an opportunity to miss out on that opportunity because there's these criminals over here that are gangbanging and starting their gang.
But there is a way to solve that.
I know we're getting to the process, but from what I hear, the process isn't easy. It takes forever, and there needs to be some reform, right, in the way that people come into the country. Because I would think, give them a pathway to citizenship. Why is that so hard? That Democrats and Republicans can't figure this out, just like...
No, I'm going to tell you, the problem is, if they came here illegally, okay, immigration is a federal law.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a federal law.
Should be enforced.
And this is a country of laws. And the day we're not a country of laws, we're Venezuela. Okay, right. So that's why I'm so strict with the laws. We need to obey the law of this land. Right. So immigration is a federal law. So once you come here illegally, you cross the border, you already committed a crime. Unless something happened that they say, okay, well, we're going to forgive this crime for whatever. And then on top of that, you committed another crime. Now you're piling up your crimes. Yeah. And when you re-enter the second time, the first time is a federal misdemeanor, but the second time then becomes a felony when you re-enter.
And you just don't go to court, and you don't have to deal with none of it.
And what happens is they don't show up to court, and we should not be in this position. Because there was a time that there were migrant visas. Yeah. That people were granted migrant visas to do specific jobs.
Right, yeah.
And they took that away, and that's when the illegal immigration problem came worse. And then during the 4 years of Biden, it was just, but you say, no, it's not. Over 90 countries, people that came from over 90 countries came up across that border. Yeah. It was not only Latinos. It was, from all over the world.
Yeah, I've seen some Chinese people. Because I went to the border too, and there was a group of Chinese people that didn't speak Spanish nor English. And everybody was like, those are the Chinese people. Like, they're telling us, like, they point them out because they're in their little group. It was a small group. But I was just blown away that they didn't speak English or Spanish. I was like, how did they get here?
Where did they
like,
come
yeah,
from?
it was pretty weird. It was so yeah, there was a whole bunch of people coming.
Well, it was organized by the United Nations and through ONGs and sadly Catholic Charities was part of it because I was contacted by one of the people that came to this country that way, and he was from Venezuela and he escaped Venezuela because he was persecuted by the regime, and he was in another country in South America, and from then he was flown to the United States through Houston, and then he went to Oregon, and he was flown. So he gave me the paperwork because he called me and said, he followed me on Instagram, and he was a true conservative, but he have to leave the country. He said they are registered the illegals to vote for the 2024 election, and he said, and he sent me all the paperwork to prove it. It said, so the way it read, it was in Spanish. It said, when you came to ask for benefits, they blamed the people all the time. Nobody was going to ask for benefits. They were like, okay, come, we're going to give you all the benefits and everything. So they said, when you came to ask for benefits, you said you want to vote.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So here is
Your duty.
fill out the form or go to www whatever. Yeah. And since he didn't do it, they kept on sending it to him. And then he was like, please just protect me. I don't want to be deported. But he sent me all the paperwork. And then when I sent it to get help, I black out his name. But I noticed that his case number, what it was supposed to be, his case number was 9 digits. 9 digits is the Social Security. So once they were given these 9 digits, they could pretty much do everything, register to vote. They were legal. And then, so I sent it to a bunch of people. Rachel Campos Duffy ended up getting it, but Fox would not touch the story. This is the problem we have. Like, here we have Fox wouldn't touch the story. End up on Senator Johnson's desk, and that's when finally the Speaker of the House started talking about this. They're giving welfare to the illegals. They're registered illegals. And then Elon Musk in February find out, they were giving them Social Security. I was like, well, I discovered that first.
And
Thank you very much.
The goal is obviously that they would vote for the Democratic Party. And that's why you feel the border's open for everybody to come through. And then now we see, I mean, they were saying, I remember during that time, it was like, well, you can't close it off, like you couldn't control it. But then Trump comes in and he just shuts it down.
Did.
And so it's like a lot of things that they said couldn't happen, obviously could happen through government. And so you can just compare that time to this time. You can look at things and see
how they were
changed.
lying to us.
But by no means do I think, the Republican Party is just perfect and there's nothing wrong with them and they don't do crooked stuff too. But I definitely saw a difference in the 4 years prior to Trump and now what's happening now. Some things were shut down, and it showed that if you're a president or if you have the majority in the House, Senate, you can get some stuff done.
You can get, but sometimes I said it's not the Republican Party, it's the person.
Yeah.
Well,
under Biden, we saw a lot of advancement of transgender rights, LGBTQIA plus stuff in like you said, with kids, with children. A lot of left-leaning policies were growing in our country, and then Trump came in, and now it's like there's only 2 genders, and we're signing executive order, and so he would literally sign an executive order.
And June is no longer the whole month for the LGBTQ plus 2. Let me tell you, one day I started to see how many letters they had, and it's like, okay, it's just keep on growing. And I remember, what was it, 2-3 years ago, it was June 1st, and I was looking for something up in Google and said, here are some lesbian bars that you would like to go. And I was like, and I was so mad because I was like, the same way I read this, my daughters, this will show up to my daughters, to a little girl, and because it
what was that on?
Because on Google, because it was June 1st, Pride Month.
Yeah.
So it was all this propaganda, and that was the first thing that appeared on my Google. So I'm so happy and so glad that we have a president that ended that.
Yeah, I saw streets that had rainbows on them. Now they're being washed away, and so a lot of things are turning back to, I guess you would say, the Judeo-Christian values. But that also infuriates a lot of people, because they're not Christian and they don't want that, and they would say that's separate. We need to keep that separate. So that's where our country gets so divided.
There are some Christians that are like that. So last Sunday, I went to a debate. The 4 top candidates were invited, and it was about an union with the churches, and there were like Catholics, Episcopalians, Baptists, and there were all these churches represented. And there was a pastor, female pastor. When I'm, pulling in to park, I see this woman coming with, with the top is the black, like a priest with a little white thing.
The collar, yeah.
The pant, she had a pair of pants and shorts on top of it, and it was completely the LGBT rainbow.
Oh, yeah. They got priests and preachers and pastors.
And she was the pastor, the head pastor of that church.
Yeah, they have churches.
Later when they introduced the people, and I was like, so they're Christians.
They got one in Katy. They got a church in Katy, actually.
And I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I understand. A lot of Christians we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, like, kind of talking about, like, the Republican Party and everything, like, talking about the LGBTQIA agenda, they consider themselves minorities, right? A lot of times they pair themselves with, like, Latinos or blacks. We're all minorities.
Rights, yeah.
And how come, like, the narrative is that, the Republican Party doesn't really connect with minorities, right? Like, it's like, oh, they're racist, or if you support anything that's of that type of party, it comes across as racist, white supremacist now. Like, you can't say anything little, you're a white supremacist. I'm like, no, I'm
I'm racist. And I'm like, right? How can I be racist? I'm Latina.
So why does it feel like there's like a disconnect with the people, even though, like you're saying, the bigger picture was really fooling them, but they'll still come here and vote for that party that fooled them.
Yeah, how come Republicans can't be the party for
the people,
the minority?
Yeah, we're like the
community.
minority.
How come they can't? Or is it a promotion and marketing issue, or what is it?
It's let me tell you again, because the Republicans, we respect everybody's opinions, and we have allowed to be put in the corner like that. Yeah. Because when you see the history of the Republican Party, we are the true party of human rights. Okay, the Civil War was about the Republicans wanting to free the slave, and the Democrats didn't want to do that, and that's why the war happened. And then it was Abraham Lincoln, and who killed Abraham Lincoln? A Democrat. And then the blacks started to join politics, and they were running for office as Republicans. And the Democrats didn't like it, and that's why they created the Ku Klux Klan and started terrorizing the black people. And then they created segregation. And then when the women wanted to get the right to vote, the Republicans wanted to give us the right to vote, but the Democrats didn't. And then what happened? 100 years, and they were torturing women. They arrested the women and they're torturing women.
Yeah.
So, and then Lyndon B. Johnson, when they created welfare, he said, what did he say? The famous works, and I'm going to say, we are going to have the blacks voting for us for the next 100 years. Yeah. But what they did to the black families was the worst, because that destroyed their families.
Yeah, even Margaret Sanger, right?
She was Democrat.
Who led abortion.
It was to exterminate the race.
She was racist.
Yeah. She was racist. Yeah. And the whole abortion thing. So when I see the black community being Democrats, I'm like, do you have any idea that the Democrats created abortion just because they want to exterminate you?
Yeah, but then when you go down that path, they'll throw a butt back at you, and then we throw a butt back, and then you throw a butt back, and it just seems like it never ends, because there's so much information out there and so many different facts and everybody, and so it always comes back to, how do you reason and come to a point of solidarity? The only way I can see is under the banner of Christ. He's the only one that can unite us, but that don't seem to be happening.
But we need to teach. And the other thing that happened, it's what I call symbols and semantics, especially with the Latino community, with the Hispanic community. The color red was not the Republican Party color. It was blue. And mainstream media switched it in the 1984 election of Ronald Reagan. And they just overnight switched it. I remember seeing that screen and seeing it red and say, how did he lose? And what happened is, and he won that year. It was amazing. It was like a bloodbath seeing that map. And what happens, they flip the colors. And what happened is the red color is the color of communism. And the Republicans didn't fight it the next day. The Republicans should have the next day say, you know what? That's not our color. Do not do it again. So what happened is when you come here as a Latino immigrant or any immigrant, imagine that the people from Asia that also comes from a communist regime, they see the party with the color red and they're like, no, these are the communists. And then people wrongfully think that this is a democracy. This is not a democracy. This is a constitutional republic that elects through a form of democracy, democratic way with elections. And they say, well, we want democracy, so we, of course, the Democrats with the blue color instead of the red color. So that's why. But if I've taken, I always said that the biggest favor the Democrats did to us was attacking our children. Because when they attack our children, Latinos were like, oh no, game over. Yeah. That's when they finally, Latinos understood, these people don't represent us.
So do you think that a lot of people vote Democratic because they're ignorant to what you're saying, these facts?
Yes, because there's being a big propaganda. And then they sell, we are the party of the people. We are the party. And I'm like, no, they didn't want to flee the slave. They didn't want to give us the right to vote. They created segregation. No, they are not the party of people. And even today, explain me why the party of people with the lesbians, they are protecting the transgender instead of protecting the women. That doesn't make any sense. You know, that's why I hate them. But
yeah. And it's crazy. Now you talk about it, it makes it like, what comes to my mind is how when they were running for, Kamala, the main thing was like, oh, come to this city, Beyonce's going to be there. Come to that city, this artist is going to be there. Come to that city. Everywhere they went, they had artists. And it was kind of like, we're a little bit ignorant. So, they got the artist. I could trust Beyonce, right? Let me trust her instead of
culture.
Instead of the color red, which is Nazi.
Yes.
And then the red, that reminds me of the Nazi, how you said the communists, right?
Well, because let's be realistic. So he started as a socialist. He came from a socialist party, and so you have to analyze the whole history, how it happened.
You talking about Hitler?
Hitler, he was a socialist. He came from a socialist party, and when people say, "Well, it's Nazi," it at the end of the day, it was socialism and communism, and it was about oppressing people. And the first thing he did, took the arms away.
Yeah, that'll.
And what Cuba did,
power from the people.
took the arms away. What Venezuela did, took the arms away.
You know what I think about in this conversation is that my people perish for a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's lack of knowledge, yes.
Like politics has become like so tribalism, like so tribal, like, right? Like if you're with this party, you're with this party, you're with that party, with that party. And it's almost like, you're wrong in one thing, but you don't want to admit it because you feel like, I can't be wrong at all. So you'd rather fight it than let the other party be right. What are like common ways or practical ways, like for people like me, people like us that were of the faith, to like close that bridge and kind of reach people on the other side, connect with people,
build a bridge,
people that disagree, right? Instead of just trying to continue in the same cycle.
Us versus them, instead of us versus them. Yeah, I mean, we have Democrats, Republicans all around us in ministry. I know. I don't talk publicly about politics very much because I'm white. I'll get accused of being racist. The minute I say I don't agree with this, they're like, "That's because you're racist. How dare you? How you say you work with?"
You're white and you're a man. You're the worst.
Yeah,
of the
I
worst.
am. So I'd rather have a voice for Christ. Just have a voice for Christ and do my thing privately. But it happens. It happens quite regularly that if I say something, I got to be very careful because they're looking for that punchline to say. See, right there, I knew it. And I'm like,
no, I know. Okay. I get that all the time. I say, I'm Latina. Yeah. When they say, because they call me racist all the time because I'm Republican. I say, I'm Latina. How can I be a racist?
But even blacks who are Republicans are called Uncle Toms. So it doesn't matter at this point.
They say that also to black people. It's just
black conservatives called Uncle Toms.
Because the problem is...
There's a whole movie called Uncle Toms by
but what happens is they do it
that are really good. It's really good.
They do it to shut you off.
Yeah, for sure.
And because when they call you racist, you don't know how to react. Yeah. So it happened to me a couple of Sundays ago. I was in a debate that the style was speed dating style. So we, the candidates, were going from one table to the other. So there were friendly tables and there were not so friendly tables. And then at the end, we have to give our pitch and say, what our platform was and everything. But what happened is the candidates that were in front of me were putting that fear. Like, they're taking away your welfare, they're taking away your food stamps, and we're going to go to Congress to fight Trump. And then I take the microphone and say, we need to stop lying.
Fear-mongering.
I said, they need to stop lying. It is not true. You are in fear. So I started explaining, and I said, so I explained this again. But because I said illegal immigrants, this woman just wrapped the mic from my hand. So rude. But let's talk about, they stand for freedom of speech. But she just grabbed the mic. And I look at her and said, I haven't finished my 2 minutes. And she said, because you were saying racist things. And I said, yeah? Tell me what? What did I say? What happened is you have to, what did I say?
Yeah.
And the woman is with the mic here. Well, you were saying incitating language. And I was, okay, tell me what? What did I say?
Didn't do it.
And then she, well, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. So I just my mic went like this. Yeah, I say illegal immigrants because that's the truth. They're taking your money and your tax-paying money, and that's what is being cut off. That and fraud. But you are going to be okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. So people ask me, why do you go to those places? Because I want them to listen to me.
Yeah,
and
right.
to listen the truth with facts.
Yeah. How is there anything that you observe that you agree with on the Democratic side? Is the Democrats and Republicans agreeing on anything? That's what I was trying to say. Is there anything that you have a common agreement with, or is it just, no, there's nothing at all?
I would say that, but it's not 100% agreement. I believe we need to have social programs,
Yeah.
but with a time limit. Like you said, you raise up people and say, okay, we're going to help you.
So the SNAP benefits and stuff.
Exactly. Say, but
welfare
you need to
programs,
commit, the welfare programs, you need to commit that you're going to study, that you're going to get out of the system. It cannot be eternal. And that's one of the things that is a requirement now to Medicare and all of that. I say you need to work certain amount of time, hours. I believe you cannot, because the welfare in that way, that's what destroyed the black families. And that's when this whole baby mama, whatever started, which I think, it destroyed the family. And the first affected were the black community. And now they want to do it to the Latinos. And now, they want to keep on going because they need to destroy the family. So I would say that would be the only thing I agree with them, but with limitations. Not like they want to just to go, because there is no way we can keep on paying like that. That would be but right now they have become so radicalized that really, I don't see how you can have a common ground with them, especially when they're all the time saying, we need to fight Trump. Oh, and the things they say in the debate, he's a pedophile, and I'm like, where did they get this?
Yeah, it's more, that's, if I had a criticism of the Democratic Party, I don't know what their policies are. I just know what they're against. And it's anything Trump puts forward, it's anything Republican. I just don't know what they stand for. What are the two Republicans that, the government is shut down right now because the Democrats and Republicans are not able to resolve, this issue, right, over spending money.
Welfare.
Yeah,
it's all about welfare.
Right,
They want to add 1.3 trillion in welfare that we are cutting back.
And the Senate needs
60 votes to pass.
And 2 or 3 Democrats have voted yes, and they need like 2 more or something like that.
They're we're sure. We're almost there, but
yeah, I'm trying to think of the guy
Sure.
No, I'm the one who voted for keeping the government open. I'm trying to think of
the Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay, now you beat me on that. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, he was
don't-
speaking like we can open the government and still tackle that issue. We don't have to close the government. It don't have to be either or. We can open it and still work out that issue that the Dems are standing on, right?
Yeah.
And so when I look at it, I'm like, they're getting their paycheck. right? They're not saying, okay, well, let's just not get our paycheck.
Oh, no, they're
If y'all
getting their
don't-
paycheck.
If the rest of y'all don't get y'all's paycheck, but they're getting theirs.
Oh wow.
Yes,
I didn't
for
even know
sure.
that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you're shutting the government down, but you're still
But
getting
you're
a
still
paycheck.
getting
And I think that's wrong.
I think
Yeah.
they
That
should
ought
be
to
the
show
first one to
Yeah.
stop getting their money.
That'll make them agree.
That'll change things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of people have given up on even voting because they see stuff like that and they go like,
That's the worst.
why is that?
That's what happened in Venezuela. People were so disappointed about the whole system that people just stopped voting. And that's how Hugo Chavez won. And then when the people in Venezuela realized where they were into, they decided to start going to vote. And then now the masses of people that vote and would like to vote, because we don't have consulates anymore in the United States. But that's the worst. Even if we know they're cheating, because there are, especially in Harris County, we need to keep on doing it to make it, and actually we need to vote in masses to make it very difficult for them to cheat.
That's what Trump said, right? He said it needs to be too big
Yeah.
to rig. And
Yes.
he got what he asked for, actually.
Well, because I truly believe he was stolen in 2020. I completely I'm in the list of election deniers, and I wear that with pride.
Where do you, if someone's trying to explore politics, there's places you can go and you're not going to get anything accurate that the Republican Party is saying. There's places you can go, you're not going to get anything accurate about the Democratic Party. Media seems to feed you exactly what they want you to vote. All right. So where are people able to go, in your view, to get information that's accurate?
Well, what happened is even Google, manipulate the thing. And now what Grok is the other one. But a friend of mine that is a journalist sent me one day an analysis on my district, and it's wrong. That's not the demographic. She was, it's Grok. And I was like, if somebody should know better, it's you. So stop it.
Yeah.
And what happened is you need to ask the question in different ways to get. I usually get my facts about the numbers of the money being in fraud pretty well, and just read all books. Nothing new. Reading is an incredible way, and all books. And that's why the first thing that the left attacks is education. Because if people is ignorant, well, first they can manipulate it, and then they can create their own history. That's why they're turning out statues. They want to completely delete history, so they can create their own history. They did that in Venezuela. They turned down, and then Hugo Chavez put his statues everywhere, and it was a new story. And then he put his image on Simón Bolívar, who was our libertador. And he put his image on Simón Bolívar, so he became a libertador. And that's the problem with the left, and that's why they want to do that. So I always say, I read something beautiful in Guatemala, and it is not the answers that teach you, it is the questions. So whenever somebody tells you something, question back why, and keep, and then if it is not true, you will silence that person. But if it is true,
I try to go to the source. Like, I'll see a good Christian friend I know post something, and it's anti-Trump, right? It's anti-Trump, and it's an ABC report from the news, right? And so I'll take that information. I might go to ChatGPT and say, "Is this true?" And it'll scan and it'll find where it was said, and then I'll have to dig a little deeper. But is it true? And it said, well, it's reportedly, or something like that. And so you really have to do some research. You have to dig, because everything that ABC or NBC or it's not, or Fox, it's not going to be. You can't be your final source.
No.
I noticed Trump. He talks every day almost. He does public. He talks to the media, and the media are going to ask him those questions, because a lot of them are trying to get him. They're trying to have a gotcha moment in a soundbite. Yeah. And so I'll look at what they ask him. I'll look how he answers. Of course he could lie, right? But if he says, no, that's not what we're doing, then I don't assume, well, that's what he's going to do because ABC said he was going to do it. And that's what he's doing. And he's not telling. I'd rather wait. I'm going to wait and see if it plays out. right? What's her name? His press secretary,
Carolina Levitt.
Levitt. I'll listen to what is she saying that we're doing in the country, so I can become aware of his game plan by listening to them directly. I couldn't do that under the Biden administration. He wasn't talking very much. There wasn't a lot of press conferences, but this president, there's press conferences and there's new media in the room, and
every day.
I mean, so I think you're lazy if you're not going to go and listen from the horse's mouth or from his very own press secretary, hear what he's saying, because those reporters who are reporting it in their media, they're asking the questions right in front of him directly to him. So just listen to those press conferences. Now, I also discovered like Newsmax, where they're trying to really balance. So you got like Kumo. I think that's how Kumo.
Newsmax is pretty
Kumo.
good.
So Newsmax, you have Kumo, who used to be, representative of the Democratic Party, but now him and Stephen A. and even O'Reilly will have this Three Amigos type thing, and you can hear, all of them giving their points, and then you can assess, because none of them are arguing for any party. They're just stating the facts. And I kind of like that versus trusting this left-wing talking point or this right-wing talking point. I want a reason.
Yeah.
I don't want you to feed me what you want me to believe.
And that's what we have become.
Right.
That people don't want to research.
Yeah.
They just believe whatever they're saying. And as a journalist, that's my main issue, because we used to state the facts and report the facts from both ways. And I said, thanks God I'm not working any longer in that field, because how could I? Because you need to side yourself with whoever hires you want you to say.
Wherever the money, follow the money. The
Exactly.
advertisers,
And that for me will be selling my soul.
Yeah.
And I cannot do that.
I saw them showing like one of the No Kings protests, and they used a picture of some humongous crowd.
From years ago.
From years ago, that wasn't even that protest.
Yeah.
And put it on like the No Kings rally was big, and I'm like, why are you trying to deceive people to say it was that massive when that was a whole?
It's the left. That's what Nicolás Maduro does in Venezuela. And the people in Venezuela, he puts in television like these big crowds, and he's supposed to be in certain street, and the people that live in the buildings in that street, they say, okay, here is what the television, now I'm going to show you that street, poor people. I said, this is the truth.
Yeah. It's propaganda.
This has been incredible, because people actually can really report the truth.
Yeah, that's a double-edged sword of it. Because I was going to say, too, on YouTube, you could go look at people that go to Venezuela, and it's like, because you hear it, you're like, how bad really is it? But, I mean, over there, like, this guy from YouTube went to visit, and to buy a piece of meat, like, for a regular person that lives in Venezuela, to buy a piece of meat is almost their monthly wage.
Yes.
So it's like, you can't even afford meat.
No.
And then it's like, over there, the cereal boxes, they're in cardboard, black and white. There's no color on them because they can't afford it. Like, it's crazy, right? And the food, right, is very scarce. They scan you. You can only buy groceries, like, once a day. But if you didn't see that...
They give people a box with some things that it's disgusting what they're feeding people.
I know. I love the Make America Healthy Again. I like what's happening there. And that's another thing, like, I remember eggs were what, $8-9 a carton, and everybody was like, look at Trump's not going to be able to fix that. Gas was like over $4 and something.
Well, he's fixed.
Trump's not, and now it's lower, but nobody says nothing about it. I'm not advocating for Trump. I'm just saying I'm watching things. I'm looking at facts.
I'm buying eggs.
And it's lower. Gas is lower.
Yes. But it takes time. You can, come on, people expecting for Trump to be like a magic wand.
Well, he kind of did a magic wand over that.
Basically, but
because he allowed fracking.
But still, people are not realizing. But it's in reality, he's been in office, 9 months?
Yeah.
So he has done a lot to. And one of the problems he has with the gas price not being able to, lower even more, is because completely they stopped, drilling.
Fracking, yeah.
And what happened is when you close a field, that clocks up. You cannot just open that like a faucet.
But right now they're drilling. Like drill baby drill is what he.
They're drilling, but it's not, and that's why it's not as easy to. They have to rebuild new ones, and that's why he went and bought oil from other, and that's why he's been doing this negotiation with the Middle East, doing all these deals, because he wants to lower the price of gas.
Yeah.
That's the reality, and we need to drill, we need to frack again, And it's funny because in one of the questions today was about, the green energy. They said, well, to build solar panels, you need fossil fuel. To build the windmill, you need fossil fuel. Oh, by the way, when you charge your car that is electric, where do you think electricity comes? It's fossil fuel.
Yeah. And then we found there was a lot of stuff discovered that a lot of money was going out from the government in the name of green, but really someone was just collecting that money in foreign countries, and it wasn't even going to green energy and things like that. It was just like a big scam.
Not only
now no one's talking. Now that it's been uncovered as it was a big scam, no one's touting. No one's even saying nothing about it anymore. Like, we got to go green. You don't even hear that anymore.
Well, they still doing it,
now
but
it's the
not only
immigration
is
thing.
I'm
it's
just
like
worried.
a play. Yeah.
I just worry about the damage to the planet because none of these things are biodegradable. So what happened is, we're gonna bury them. How do we get rid of all these batteries and all these solar panels and all? That's what they
windmills.
The windmills.
Turbines.
That's what they. And that's what happened. That's why we got that freezing. Remember, 3 years ago, they fell on us. So the thing is, what they're not thinking about the planet. What's going to happen with all these things?
Yeah.
How are we going to get rid of it? And that's when it says, if they are protecting the planet, but they're doing this that actually will destroy our planet, are they really thinking?
Yeah, you can sell anything you want to people nowadays, and that's why I just think people need to research. Speaking of people, we had a few questions that came through social media when I told them we were going to interview you.
Okay.
And so Jessica's going to shoot them at you right quick.
Okay, so one was, what is your plan to avoid being influenced by lobbying groups that attract scrutiny rather than your constituents, such as Big Pharma? Is that AIPAC?
AIPAC is the Israeli group. Well, let me tell you, so far, none of those people have donated to me, thanks God. So I own nobody. The only people I own is my constituents. And I would not accept that. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this for the future of our children. I'm doing this for the future of our grandchildren. I will never sell my soul to any of those groups. So I'm going to be in shitty committees when I get to Congress, but I don't care because I have my favorite already chosen, which is veterans. And they call it, the lower ones that nobody wants to be, but we need to do a lot more for our veterans.
I agree with that. Another was, when are we going to see real property tax reform in Texas?
Go to vote this November 4th. It's on the ballot, by the way. Early voting started Monday. And there is 17 constitutional amendments in Texas, out of which a series of them have to do with cuts in property taxes in different forms. So I recommended to vote yes for all of them because one of them is reinstating that parents have the right on our children. Imagine that we have to put that into law. And so that's one of them. And also they're getting rid of the inheritance tax and different forms of saving property taxes. So if that's the question, you want to get that done, make sure you go to vote and then vote for me and the last name in the ballot and the only Latina, so you will recognize my name.
Yeah, my desire is to have a Democrat that's running as well. And I've reached out to Amanda Edwards. She is in your district.
Yeah, she's in my race.
Running.
Yeah, and I can tell you what she's going to say. She has a script she memorized. And
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah, she just pulled from that script, and it's never anything different. I laugh when I'm at the debates, and she started, and I look at my team, we're all laughing like, okay, here we go again. Okay. But there is no plan for the district, just this poor me story. See, that's what the Democrats do. They just go on, get on your emotions. Yeah.
But I think just hearing the balance.
So did she say yes?
I sent a text to her person that books her, and then she told me send an email. So I got to do a follow-up through an email. And we'll see. But I want to be fair. I want to be balanced. I want to hear from both. I don't like to assume every Republican is the same or every Democrat is the same.
No.
I'd rather have a conversation and interview them. I'm sure you said a lot of things that probably tick some people off who will watch this,
Oh.
But that's what politics typically do. So if someone wanted to send you an email to ask you to clarify or contact you, are you on social media?
I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, first go to my page, Carmen #4, carmen4congress.com.
Okay.
They can send an email to info@carmen4congress.com. I'm in social media as Carmen4 Congress, and Instagram, X, Facebook, and also my personal. Usually I have way more followers in my personal, which is Carmen Maria Montiel. And so I use them both. And that's the way to find me. And yes, we need to, if you feel you agree with me, just go to the page and donate $5, $10, whatever you can. If you are willing to volunteer, sign up to volunteer, because we need people at the polls right now. So, and there are my platforms. I have 3 bills written already to introduce in Congress. As soon as I get there, I'm going to hit the ground running. One is to audit the city of Houston and Harris County, because there are billions of federal money lost that we don't know where they are, that could have solved many of the problems we have in this city.
Wow.
And then I want to have another one to modernize the electrical system, so we don't go through what we have to go through every time.
Yeah, when a storm or a flood comes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so just go there, you read my platform, my 3 bills, and, sign up, donate, everything, and just follow me up. It's fun.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine being a politician, all that y'all have to deal with, the stuff you got to put up with. So you have a fight in you, obviously. It's where you come from. You just got a fight in you to be able to tolerate that. I mean, I'd probably be praying every night, God, help me to overcome what they're saying about me. Help me to overcome how they feel about me, because I'm a peacemaker, and naturally my temperament is not to create division. I'm not one of those guys that I don't care what people think. I want to know. I want to know why you think that way, and I want to try to reason with you. But to be a politician, I feel like you got to be super thick-skinned.
Yes.
Because you could be taken out of context, one soundbite that you say, and y'all have to say a lot. I mean, if I had to talk as much as y'all did on platforms
all
and
day.
debates, I'm sure I'm going to say some things the wrong way. Nobody's perfect, right?
No.
And you have to go back and clarify, which that gets Trump in trouble a lot. Is he'll say
But
stuff.
don't you think he's doing better this time around?
I do. I feel like somebody's
like-
coached him to do a little better.
Yes.
But he's still no pushover. He still will tell you that person is stupid. And his language is very harsh. That's where
He's from New York. Come on. Have
know.
you ever met?
See, that's a
somebody
good
from
point.
New
Like
York?
that culturally, that's just how they talk there. But yeah, in politics, they're like, see, he's not talking like a president. He's calling Democrats morons or ignorant. But I understand. That's why I can't super advocate for him being a Christian, because I mean, he'll do things and say things that I'm like, yeah, that ain't really Christian, bro. And so I can't go down that path. But I can look at his policies and say, okay, as a president, do I like these policies? I like this. I like this. Okay, what is Kamala offering? Okay, this, do I like? Okay, I got to vote for one. It doesn't mean I'm MAGA if I vote for Trump. It doesn't mean I'm just gonna rock the hat and go all out and defend everything. I can vote Republican and not be MAGA. I'm gonna die on that hill. I'm gonna die on the hill of Jesus Christ, dead, burial, resurrection, and that everybody needs to be saved. As far as my politics, I couldn't do what you do. Just because you have to really be able to tough out some hard situations. So kudos to you. I don't know.
Well, I had training when I was very young. I always said pageantry is the best school
Okay.
for politics, and I was 19 years old. But then I went through a very difficult time in my life. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I have to fight for my children and myself. And I think that gave me the strength to do what I do today.
Yeah.
Because you know what? After I went through that, and then my name was mud, and so many things happened. It was like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm just gonna survive. And for me, I'm gonna survive. I believe what I'm doing. It needs to be done. And they can say whatever they want about me. I just go and keep on going.
So before we go, if someone wants to hear more of your story, that is true. You have a book.
I have a book. Yes.
Is it about that? Is it about your story?
It's my life story
Okay.
combined with what happened, and it's called Stolen Identity, and it's available in Amazon.
Oh wow. All right.
And in Spanish is Identidad Robada.
Yeah.
I have it in both languages.
Well,
You had another book too, though, right? You said
Not only that
Okay.
Stolen Identity. I always wanted to write the second part of that story, because it doesn't end. And right there, was kept in court for another some years. I haven't just had the time because I have to be a single mother, pulling my children out of the mess, making sure they became successful, and I accomplished that. And
That's awesome.
And now I'm doing this, so at one point I will write the second part of that. I always had in my mind it was to be a trilogy. So
Okay. Wow. Well, if y'all don't have anything else, close us out. Hey,
thank you.
thank you so much for being gracious to come back and do this again. We really appreciate it. People will know about you after watching this show because we're going to get it out before the election, and they can decide if
Yes, early voting is already happening,
it's happening now. So
and November 4th is the day.
yeah, so we're on a time crunch to get this out so people can watch. But I know that it's late at night and you're up here with us, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, you all. I really appreciate it for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.
Gracias.
So thank y'all so much for joining us for another episode, something different that we've never done before, because we like that. If you have an idea of something different that we should talk about, send me the people, send me the topic, and we'd love to consider it. Other than that, don't forget to share, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. As every week, we thank you so much for tuning in.
Something ain't right.
What?